Hello everyone, I am back with a new chapter of class 6 which is separation of substances. It is lesson number 5 of your book. Now first of all we go through the points what we will learn in this chapter. Introduction, about pure and mixture, about separation, need of separation, methods of separation like hand picking method, threshing, winnowing, sieving, sedimentation, decantation, filtration, evaporation, condensation, and solubility. These are the few topics which we will discuss in this chapter. First of all is introduction. In introduction, you can observe that in our surrounding nowadays you can most of the time you are at home. You can observe that many things are there in our house. For example, table, almirah, bikes, scooty, car, even your books and even your pencil box, even a small things. If you observe that, if you just take one example of your eraser, if you just pick up the eraser, you feel some weight in it, and if you place that eraser in your geometry box, it occupies some space in it. It means what? Anything which is present in our surrounding having some weight in it and occupy some short of place. Like in your home, your study table just occupy a corner of your room, and almirah which is also occupy some space in your room. Even in a bookshelf, if you see books which they are also occupy some space in your bookshelf. So all of them is what? They all are considered as a matter. So what is matter? Matter is anything that occupies space and has mass in it. Okay, now it is in a solid form, even in a liquid and in gas. In any form you can see easily. Now classification of matter. On the basis of few properties we can classify matters. First of all, we can classify matter on physical states. Okay, we can classify matter on the basis of physical state in three types. They are solid, liquid, and gas. Solids. I thought you learned already in chapter number 4 about solids, liquid, and gas. So in this chapter we will just little bit go through it. Solids, molecules are tightly packed and have a little space to move and have a fixed shape and do not flow. And what about the liquids? Liquids are most loosely packed than solid and have more space to move, flow, hence they do not have a fixed shape. And what about the gaseous? Molecules are far from each other and move very freely and don't have a fixed shape. These are the few properties of solids, liquid, and gas. Now we will move to next basis. On the basis of chemical composition also we can classify matter in a two type. First one is a pure substance and second one is a mixture. Further we can divide the pure substance into two types, in elements and compounds. And further also we can divide the mixtures in two types, homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. As you see in this slide, easily the matter is divided into two parts, two types, pure substance and mixtures. Then further pure substance is divided into elements and compounds. And mixture is divided into homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixtures. And here is some examples, pictures of examples are also given. These things we will discuss in next slides. Now first of all we take first type of matter. First one is pure substance. And what is the meaning of pure? Pure means what? Pure means if we see the sugar, in a crystals of sugar, only sugar crystals are formed, nothing else is present, then we can say it is in a pure form. Same like in a pure substances. Substances in which all the molecules are of a same kind. It means only one kind of substance is present in a pure substances. It is either an element or compound. Each pure substance has its own characteristic property like melting point and boiling point. It means what? It means the pure substance have a fixed melting point and fixed boiling point. For example, if you see the pure gold and pure sugar without mixing of anything else, and oxygen, diamond, these are the few examples of pure substances. Now next one is mixture, and it is also called as impure substances. A mixture is what? Substance in which all the molecules are not of a same kind. Most naturally occurring substances are mixture. Yeah, it is true, all the naturally occurring substances are mixture. For example, crude oil, it is a mixture of organic compounds, mainly hydrocarbon. And seawater, it is a mixture of salt and water. And easily if you see air, air is a mixture of gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide, neon, argon, nitrogen, all our gases are present in air. If you see ink is also a mixture of color dyes. And gunpowder is a mixture of carbon, sulfur and potassium nitrate. So we can say that a mixture is what? When two or more pure substances are mixed together, then what is formed? Mixture. Then further we can divide the mixture into two types. In this slide I am showing the few examples of mixture. If you see the burger, sandwich is also the mixture of bread, meat, tomatoes. And if you see the rock, it is also the different kinds of rocks mixture. And this is a soda, mixture of sugar and water. And this is a lemon juice, it is a mixture of sugar, salt and water. Now we can discuss the types of mixtures. There are two types of mixtures. One is a homogeneous mixture and another one is a heterogeneous mixture. Now one by one we can discuss the types. What is a heterogeneous mixture? What is that? A mixture of a sand mixed with salt is an example of heterogeneous mixture. Heterogeneous mixtures possesses different property and composition in various parts. That is, the property are not uniform throughout the mixture. For example, air, oxygen, oil and water, etc. It means what? Heterogeneous mixtures are not having a uniform property all over. If you see the mixture of sand and salt, in some place you see sand quantity is more and in some place you see salt quantity is more. So if you see the mixture all over, the uniformity is not seen. That's why this type of mixture we can say that it is a what type of mixture? Heterogeneous type of mixture. Air, in air you see somewhere the oxygen is lack at a high altitudes. In the mountains the oxygen level is very less. In a plains, the oxygen level is normal. In somewhere, the nitrogen level is more. So there is not uniform. The gases is not uniform all around. That's why air is also a heterogeneous mixture. Now, come to the next one. What is a homogeneous mixture? Just opposite the heterogeneous. Sugar mixed with water is the most common example of homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixtures can be defined as the mixture which possesses the same property and combination throughout their mass. For example, alloys, salt and water, alcohol in water, etc. Homo means same. The meaning is same. It means the mixture shows, if you can see the sugar dissolved in water. After dissolving sugar, after some time you see any crystal in that water? No, because that sugar completely dissolved in that water. So everywhere the sugar crystals are dissolved properly in that a glass of water. That's why we see, if you taste that water, you feel every sip of that water is sugar in a taste. It means what? It means what? That the mixture showing the same property all around in that glass of water. So this is all about the homogeneous mixture. Now next one is, what is separation? Very important. Why we need separation? On what is separation? Separation is nothing but it is meaning that separation is removing of substances from a mixture of two or more substances. Simple. For example, separating stone from rice, separating tea from tea leaves, churning of milk to obtain butter. So in this all process, we separate something from some other thing. Now, why do we need separation, or why do we separate substances? Very obvious question. Why we separate things? To obtain two different but useful components, to remove non-useful components, to remove impurities or harmful components, or to group substance of different sizes. Example, when if you see at your home, mother just picking up the stone from rice. So rice is a useful component for and stone is what? It is not useful. That's why we pick up the stones from the rice and throw. So on these kind of things we need separation. Now we will discuss the methods for the separation. Methods of separating substance from mixture. There is few methods: hand picking, threshing, winnowing, sieving, sedimentation and decantation, filtration, evaporation, distillation, sublimation, magnetic separation method, and separating funnel method. These are the few methods. With the help of these methods, we can easily separate the mixture. Now, first method is hand picking. The components of the solid and solid mixture can be separated by hand picking. When the hand picking method is used, when the mixture, both the components are solid. For example, useful and not useful component, both are in a solid nature. Solid mixture can be easily separated by the hand picking method. This is only useful when the particles are large enough to be see clearly. It is most commonly used method of separation. For example, separating pebble from rice or dal, separating grass from mint leaf, separating part of salads. Okay, in this figure you can see one person is sitting and just doing hand pick with the help of hand picking method. Just I think it is a wheat, separating the pebble from wheat. Now second one is a threshing. Threshing is a method that gradually used by farmers to separate the grain from the stalk after harvesting. After harvesting, what happens? See this person just beating the rice and wheat stalks on just stone. Now by beating on the stone, the grains are separate out. This method is called as threshing. Nowadays people use machines to do so. The dry stalk are beaten or threshed to separate the grain. However, in large farmers, threshing is done by using threshing machines. Nowadays, farmers are using threshing machine because by hand it takes too much time to do, and by machine it is just take a 1 day or few hours. Now next method is winnowing. Components of mixture are separated by wind or by blowing air, called winnowing method of separation. So in this how we will separate the mixture of components? With the help of wind. Okay, in this method we are using wind. In winnowing, the mixture is allowed to fall from a height and the lighter component get separated from the heavier ones because of wind or air blow. It is the common method used by farmers. They stand on a raised platform and allow the threshed food grains to fall slowly on ground. The wind carries lighter husk and heavier grains drop on the ground. You can easily see in this diagram one woman stand on a table and doing the which process? Winnowing process, and separating the husk from grain. Now this is fourth method is sieving. Sieving is used to separate minute particles of different size, passing it through a sieve. Sieve means channi. Different sieving is when we use sieving, when the particles are very minute. Different size sieves are used to separate different types of mixture containing minute particles. Sieve is a device containing tiny holes and separates wanted elements from unwanted materials. For example, if you see your mother is sieving the wheat flour, and sometimes you see in a construction site a worker removing the pebbles and stone from sand with the help of sieve. Now next one is the fifth one, sedimentation and decantation. Sedimentation and decantation, when the heavier component is mixed in a mixture settles after water is added to it. The process is called as sedimentation. What is that? Sedimentation process is used when the mixture having a heavier particles. For example, if you take a mixture of sand and water, okay, then sand is heavier than water. Sand is easily settled down at the bottom, and then we can use this method. Sedimentation, when the water is removed, this process is called as decantation. This is quick but rough method of separating the mixture of liquid and undissolved liquids. In this figure you can see in this first glass something is settled at the bottom. This process is showing the sedimentation, and the second one is we can pouring down the water. After settling down, what is there? One layer of water is upper side and downside one layer of separating it means sand is at the bottom. So pouring without disturbing the solution, we can pour the clear water in another glass. This process is called as decantation. Now we can see the examples of sedimentation and decantation. The mixture of sand and water is taken in a beaker and allow it to stand for some time. Okay, the sand being heavier than water, and it is insoluble also. Sand is insoluble in water and settle at the bottom of the beaker. This settling down of the particles in a lower part of a container is called sedimentation. You can see in the first diagram where one beaker is there. In that beaker, what we make? Sand water solution. After when we allow for some time, what happens? The sand layer is deposited at the bottom of beaker and water layer is separate because water is lighter than sand. That's why sand is settled at the bottom and water is upside. Take another beaker. Just take one more beaker and put the glass rod in a slanting position. Slowly take the first beaker and pouring the water gently on the glass rod. It means we can take that same solution and pour down slowly without disturbing the sand water solution and pour the clear liquid in another beaker. Okay, then this transfer of water is which process? Decantation. This is the example of sedimentation and decantation. Now, next method is filtration. The process by which two substances, and insoluble solids and liquids, are separated by passing the mixture through a filtrating device is called as filtration. Filtration is commonly used in our home. For example, after preparing tea, we filter out the tea leaves using the strainer. Filtration is also done to remove pulp from fresh fruit juice. Water may also contain solid impurities, which we be removed by filtration. During filtration, the insoluble solid is retained in the filtrating device, whereas the liquid pass through it. It is important that the particles of insoluble solids are bigger than the hole in a filtrating device for them to be retained in it. The filter paper is a filtrating device that has very fine pores in it. It means in general we can say filtration is just done to remove the insoluble lighter impurities. It means in this case what is there? The impurity is there, but the weight of that impurity is lighter. It means that impurity is not settled at the bottom. So that's why we are using filtration, not sedimentation. So in filtration, if there is floating in the water, so what happens? We can use some strainer type of things to filter out that lighter particles from a water. For example, if you just see the tea solution, we can use the strainer. On the strainer, what you see? Tea leaves. And down in a cup, what you see? A tea, which is a pure and no tea leaves is present in it. So this whole process is a filtration. You can easily see at your home. See here, this all is a filtrating filtration, how the filtration is done. Using the coffee filter to separate the coffee flavor from the coffee beans. It's a coffee filter. And this is a filtration device, this hole. Now next one is magnetic separation. So magnetic separation, you can understand, we can use magnet to separate the things. And which things are easily separated by the magnetic separation? Very easy. Iron, which is easily attracted by the magnet. What is that? It is iron only. So take some iron filling in a china dish and add some sugar into it. Means make a what? Just mixture of sugar and iron fillings. And then take magnet and hold it with a paper cover over the mixture. Iron filling get attracted to the magnet. Only sugar remains in a china dish. This method is known as magnetic separation method. This method is used to separate magnetic substances from another one. You can see in this diagram, sugar is there and this is iron fillings. And this is a mixture of sugar and iron fillings. And with the help of magnet, we can separate the iron filling from the sugar. Now next one method is evaporation. Evaporation, the process in which a liquid changes into a gas, is called as evaporation. In this method, mixture is heated up. A liquid part of the mixture evaporate, leaving the solid part behind it. For example, a mixture of common salt and water can be separated by evaporation. In fact, evaporating sweat in one of the oldest way. In fact, evaporating seawater is one of the oldest way of obtaining salt. So the salt which we are used at our home, basically it is obtained with the help of evaporation process. And if you see this, the whole process is shown in diagram. It is evaporating process to obtain salt from it. First one is seawater has a salt dissolved. You know very well, seawater is a salty in a nature. It means salt is dissolved in a seawater. To obtain salt, sea water is collected in a small pits. Pits means गड्ढे. Small pits में water को हम collect करते हैं. Then alloy that pits in a sun heat. It means what? Sun heat is in a summer season. The sun heat is too much. It means what is necessary for evaporation? Heat. And from sunlight, what we obtain? Heat. So that water is evaporate slowly. It means water is evaporate means what? That liquid. Water is what? Liquid. That liquid is get converted into gas or steam. And after some time, in the third figure you can see, you just see a white thing which is behind it. What is that white thing? It is nothing. It is salt. It's behind it, left in a pits. And after purifying that salt, just consume it. This is how the salt panels are there. See it in this diagram. I see this one, small pits are there. And here solution. Condensation. Next topic is condensation. The process in which gas changes into liquid is called as condensation. Condensation is the opposite of evaporation. In nature, water vapor in the air condense to form its liquid form, a dew. Condensation takes place only when the water vapor hits a cold surface. It means what? That gas which is formed by the process of evaporation. Now that gas, when that gas goes in a atmosphere at a high altitude, you know very well, when you move upside then temperature will be decreased. At high altitude what happens? The gas will be cooled down, and there the gas will converted into a again in a liquid form, and that liquid form is then come on the earth surface in which form? Rain form. There only they form a clouds, afterwards rain come. Dew formation on a grass in early morning. Eyeglasses fogging up when you enters a warm building on a cold winter days, or a water droplets forming on a glass holding a cold drink on a hot summer days. What is that things? There is nothing. It is condensation process is going on. Okay. So see in this slide, you can see this condensation process going on. The steam is hit the surface of plate, and this after cooling down it will be converted into a liquid. I hope you understand this chapter easily, and thank you